Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of El Local. I am your host, Eddie Gonzalez. And today we have none other than Nessa Ledesma joining us today. Welcome, Nessa.
Thank you.
Did I say your last name right?
Yeah.
Ledesma?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Because I was always kind of confused. Sometimes I get with some names, it's just like, oh, did I say it right? I don't want to butcher it, Because it's not a common last name.
No, it's not. That's true. I always get people like, "Oh, are you related to this Ledesma or this Ledesma?" And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Only people I know is my dad, my siblings, and yeah, I don't. Oh wait, it's weird. My brother married a girl with the same last name as me, but they're in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Oddly.
Oh. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is your first time doing a podcast?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it?
Surprisingly, I'm not as nervous as I thought I was gonna be. So
Really?
That's good. Yeah.
I'm actually the opposite. I'm
Really?
usually like, all right, let's do it. But I'm kind of nervous today.
Uh-oh. I hope I'm not intimidated.
No, not at all. I just, as this show is growing and all that, it's just exciting to see that more people are willing and, to come on. And, we had talked that you're a little bit nervous at first, the idea of it, but now you're on here. It's like, yeah, you're here.
Yeah.
So, Nessa, you are a local artist in the area, born and raised in Watsonville?
I was born in Gilroy because my dad's insurance was, only covered Gilroy, South County area. But I was raised here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just born there, but usually,
Yeah.
I have my family. My brothers were born in Gilroy, lived here.
Yeah.
But your family is from here, Watsonville?
Not from necessarily. My dad was born in LA but raised in Selma, California. And then my mom is from Mexico City, and she came when she was 15, didn't really like it, went back to Mexico, and then came, I think, at 19.
Okay.
I don't even know how my dad ended up in Watsonville. Oh, I think he got a job at CET. So he was a teacher at CET.
Okay.
He was teaching I don't know, he knows how to do a bunch of stuff, maintenance stuff. And then my mom, she ended up in Watsonville because her sister was here.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been here
Your entire life?
my whole life. I mean, I moved to Santa Cruz, I think, in 2017. And then, I've just kind of been North County ever since because, I don't know, it's oddly hard to find places to rent here in Watsonville.
Very much so. It's like you have to know someone. Yeah.
And I've had better luck North County for some weird reason, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worked.
Would you say you're more you represent, you feel like you Watsonville or Santa Cruz is kind of, North County is more who you are, identify more with?
I identify more with Watsonville. I say I'm from Watsonville, even though I live over there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I prefer to work here too, just give back to my community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you do? I know you're an art teacher.
So I've been a teaching artist since 2018. So going on my, how many years? 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
Yeah, so going on 7 years. So yeah, I teach different art projects. I started working mostly with elementary school students, and I would mentor high school students through a program called Mariposa Arts. Shout out Mariposa Arts. Y'all are amazing. I love the team. It's I don't know, it has a special place in my heart because I feel like it was, what got me into the industry in a sense. Yeah, it's a full circle story in a weird way, but yeah. So I started teaching elementary school after school, working with high school students to come teach in the after school program with me, and then now I'm mostly working in alt ed, so teaching high school through alternative ed.
Okay.
I've been doing that since about 2019. Just on and off, not on and off, but only two, two schools. But now I'm at 7 different schools.
Oh, that's awesome.
Through there, and just kind of travel around from site to site.
Yeah.
It can be a lot, but I love what I do. I mean, I love giving back to my community. I love like empowering students to express themselves through art. Yeah, I just get paid to make art with kids all day. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's great. I mean,
love
you
it.
love what you do and you
Yeah.
get paid for it. I mean, who doesn't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to take it back, right, a little bit. I want to go dive deep into your teaching and everything. But art,
Mhm.
what at what time in your life were you like, I want to be an artist? Um, what led you to become an artist uh, at a young age, as an adult?
Um, well, I've always found like doing art and crafty things entertaining. Like, I was that kid that would always have like a craft kit and always be working on something. I would do it with my mom. But really, like in high school, my brothers really inspired me. 'Cause I'm the only girl. I have five siblings, and so my brothers would do like kind of like graffiti style
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and so that really inspired me. And so I started experimenting with like different types of lettering and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I had a best friend that she was also into it too, so we would just kind of like paint in her backyard. And yeah, she's awesome. Shout out Lala. um,
So being the only girl in the group in a family of all boys,
uh-huh.
were you the youngest, the oldest? Oh, you're the youngest. Okay, so that
Only
you
girl.
kind of, well, one, you have older brothers to kind of protect you, but like watching them and seeing what they're doing, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, they weren't always the best influences,
Uh-huh.
but in the sense of art, I feel like I was inspired by them,
Hmm.
and that kind of led me to just mostly exploring graffiti in high school. Yeah.
That's awesome. And when graffiti, like what, how would you describe graffiti to people that don't might not know what it is?
So I always like to say like I didn't really have much exposure to any other like types of art.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would walk around a lot because I didn't have a car back then, and the only art that I was exposed to was like what I would see on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we would just kind of like find little places to hang out, and a lot of times there was like graffiti. So graffiti, like, or street art, I guess you consider it. There's a fine line between the two, I guess you
Yeah,
can say.
yeah.
So graffiti is mostly done illegally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like usually found in places that like are kind of hidden,
Mm-hmm.
like under bridges and stuff like that. So I used to just love like going and exploring or lurking, I guess you can
Yeah,
call it,
yeah.
different places. And that's what really.
What was like the cool, like the best places you would go to and just kind of hang out and see?
Mm, it's kind of like the graffiti scene isn't the same as it was back in the days.
Uh-huh.
Like, spots aren't as active anymore. They're harder to get to, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not worth the risk for a lot of people anymore. But the coolest there was like here in Watsonville
Or
or
just
anywhere.
anywhere like
Um,
that you just love going.
oh, there's one in American Canyon. It's a really cool spot. Um, and it's like an abandoned wheat mill.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing. So there's all these different like buildings that you can go in, and just like amazing
Mm-hmm.
art, especially like when people have the time to really like create something, not just like rush,
Yeah.
it it's amazing. But so American Canyon has like the abandoned wheat mill. Back in the days, I really used to like, there was like this abandoned swimming pool out in Fort Ord.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cool spot. um I mean, there's like other swimming pools, Davenport, the Buena Bowl, yeah, like
Yeah.
just little places
There's
like
this
that.
cool little space. The levee,
Uh-huh.
right? It goes all the way to the beach,
Mhm.
and there's two paths. One closest to the beach, the farmland on this side on Beach Street, and then the one uh, that kind of runs in the backside and in Pajaro, and it goes under the freeway. Have you ever been over there?
Yeah, I think I had a piece running there for quite some time.
Oh, really?
And on the railroad tracks too, but I haven't gone to see what's out there in a long time.
Yeah, I went for the first time during COVID,
Oh,
and it was super cool.
yeah.
That it was hidden. It was under the bridge, and I was just in awe. And like, oh man, like I feel like graffiti art, street art is just it's every time I see it, it's more like an kind of feeling compared to like if I see a mural, it's like, oh, cool mural.
Yeah.
But graffiti art is like, oh, because it's a different style. It's something that I guess for me, I guess I relate more to it. I guess just kind of growing up had the hip hop scene,
Yeah.
and just kind of like that vibe. I really enjoy it. Have you ever done an art like? I guess someone had mentioned to me like it's kind of like right the fine line between because it's illegal, right? Graffiti and street art. But have you ever done an art piece out there?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It is a very like satisfying feeling, especially like I don't know, just doing something bigger than yourself. It's very freeing, not being told like what to do or how to do it. Just kind of. My personal favorite thing with graffiti art is like fills. So that's like the inside of the letters. Like I kind of have a general style when it comes to my lettering style, but I really enjoy experimenting with like different fills, colors, and patterns and stuff like that. So, yes, I've done a few, quite a few, and it's very fun.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so you have your older brothers, and you're exposed to that type of art, and you start. You have pieces, you do stuff here and there. Where did you find your influence? Like, what influenced you to do your art? Like at that time.
I think I had come across a book. I don't even remember where I found it. I think there was like an old bookstore in Santa Cruz or something. But it was a graffiti woman around the world book. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, it was just like different. It was just like pages and pages and pages of women from different parts of the world that were graffiti artists, and I was like, wow, I want to be in this book one day. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where my inspiration came from. I found Indy 184 there. She's one of my favorites, and Fafi. She does like these like characters. I actually have her tattooed on my arm, one of her characters. But yeah, from that, I would say it was just like the little spark in me,
Oh, that's awesome. And how did it open doors for you?
Well, I have like a story about like how it actually happened.
Yeah.
So I was working with this organization, and I had put up an ofrenda for the Dia de los Muertos, Mi Casa es Tu Casa event at Pajaro Valley Arts Gallery. And I had ran into one of my homegirls from the Brown Berets. I was in the Brown Berets back in the days. And I was standing in line with her. And she introduced me to Ome. Shout out Ome. And Ome was the... had like a bus at that time. And my homegirl, Liz, told her, like, oh, Nessa's a dope graffiti artist. You should have her paint your bus. And so Ome and I got to talking, and yeah, I came up with a couple of different designs, and then I settled on one, and that was like my first like paid gig ever, which I thought was pretty cool. I said Creative Express on the side of the bus, and then from there I just started getting like more people asking for different things. Like I painted like a mural in someone's garage. It was like a giant stain mural. I think that was like my second one. And then after that, oddly, I started painting a lot of metal. I was like, metal is my thing, I guess. Yeah, like buses, box trucks, storage containers, and utility boxes and stuff like that. And yeah, I've been super grateful to have, been able to have those opportunities. Um, I feel like it's bittersweet, like, because, getting these paid opportunities, you're like kind of doing something for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm very grateful to like be getting paid for it. But I also feel like I kind of lost, in a sense, like that, like creative expression where I would just do stuff freely just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's not really space to be able to do that
Yeah.
legally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mom now. Like, I'm not gonna be,
Yeah, yeah.
trying to get busted for something.
And so how do you substitute that? Like, how do you
Canvases.
canvases?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and how would you describe your art? Like,
Like my style.
your style? Yeah.
Uh, it's like a combination, I think, of like three. I guess you could say like three different styles. So like, it has like that graffiti, like kind of stencily. I like using stencils. I like doing paint splats. Just messing with color with spray paint. Um, I like so like graffiti style. Uh, I'm also very inspired like by pop culture, like
Mm-hmm.
pop art, and then like cultura, like my culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like a mesh of those three.
And as a person that has, right, you said that different style, how does your culture, um, how does your culture influence you in your art?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I asked that, because for those who don't know, we had a panel a week ago here after the Corazon, so we kind of asked some questions, and I know a lot of people weren't here for it, but I think people would love to know, how your culture represents your art.
How I represent my culture through my art.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It started. It's funny because I started by just like, I think the first thing I ever did, I did some letters, like my graffiti name, and then the inside was just like sarape, like
Mm-hmm.
style. That was really fun. So that was like my first thing, and then from there, I started doing pan dulce, like different paintings of like pan dulce, and then I started getting people like commission me to do, like they would take a picture or send me a picture of like what they wanted, and it was like, the mesa with the pan dulce and the little taza, um, and then from there, um, now, well, from there I kind of just started doing more like Dia de los Muertos type stuff. Um, it's a very important holiday to me. It's like probably one of my favorites. I had a
Mm-hmm.
loss, back in 2013, and I think the only thing that kept me sane was making stuff for the ofrenda.
Mm-hmm.
So I really dived deep into art from that point forward. And so I started making like more Dia de los Muertos things, and now I've really been looking into like my like how can I say it? I guess like my roots, my culture, like ancient,
Mm-hmm.
like studying like my like
Ancestry. Yeah.
ancestral wisdom, and uh Nahuatl, which is like the Aztec language or Mexica language, and the deities and the calendar, or the energies and the calendar, and so yeah, I feel like just, and then like on my spiritual journey, that's like something that I've also integrated
Mm-hmm.
as well into my art. So yeah, just based off of like what I'm learning and like my own process, I try to depict that in my art.
Mm-hmm. How is that process? Can it be overwhelming?
Oh, sometimes I go down rabbit holes.
Really? Because you're trying to like get inspiration. You're pulling from this and pulling from that. And you're already an artist. So can what's that process like when you create something? Because I would be overwhelmed, right? Because so many ideas, so many things that I'm trying to pull from to to represent, to put on a canvas. Like how does that work for you?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, especially because I get so many ideas coming to me at once, and it takes time. It's not like I could just bust it out, you know. I wish I could. There's some people out there that like bust stuff out like, 8 paintings in a day. Like, Brad takes me like almost 8 months. No, not 8 months, but it takes me like sometimes if it's a very detailed painting, then like I'll take like 2 months on something, especially because I don't have, all day to be working on something. Like I just don't work on. Really, realistically, I only get the chance to work on paintings maybe twice a week. Just
Your own personal stuff.
my own personal stuff. Yeah, unfortunately. Um, right now, I feel like I'm more of a teaching. I'm a teaching artist who makes art sometimes. My goal is to get to a point where I'm an artist who teaches art sometimes.
One of the things that, and it's funny that you said that you only spend a few moments a week maybe working on your own stuff, and one of the questions that I asked in the panel is like, how has art, because the art scene is growing, right, in Watsonville, in the area, and so is it harder for an artist now to work on their art? Because a lot of my artist friends, a lot of people that are artists that I know are teaching art now. So they're more focused on teaching art and creating curriculum, and you're going around different schools and all that, which is great because art is growing, but you're not working on your stuff. So it's like a trade-off, right? You get art's growing, it's great, but then you're not working on your stuff. So it's like, how do you navigate that?
I'm figuring it out. I mean,
Yeah.
right now it is hard. Like I teach, and I don't teach like long hours. I'll teach from like 10 to maybe like 2. But then I'm also going to school too. And so like I'll get off and then I'll do like homework, or then I also have to like lesson plan, like you said, and then make dinner and spend time with my kid, do homework and stuff with him, and then by the time it's 8 o'clock, I don't want to paint. I want to just lay down. But yeah, how do I navigate it? Yeah, that's how I'm navigating it right now. Yeah, I hope to get to a point where like I can have like the teaching be a little more streamlined, so I'm not having to maybe spend so much time like doing the lesson planning, and then also like once I'm done with school, I feel like I don't know like what the future holds, but I feel like once I'm done with school, even more opportunities will open up for me. Like I still want to work with kids, like especially like the alternative ed population, but I think it will go in the direction more of like some type of like a counselor. Like I'm chilling with them and we're working on the art that they want to work on, or I'm doing murals with them, rather than like having to come up with curriculum for every week. So I feel like that's kind of the direction I would want to go, and maybe not like all week long, maybe just a few times a week. Or then I just have like my evenings to work on my stuff, So yeah, I'm just kind of rolling with it. I'm putting in the work right now, and I know it'll pay off down the road.
What are you going to school for?
Art. I want to get my degree in studio arts. I always said I don't need a degree. I'll be successful, and luckily I have been up to this point. But then it got to a point where like, I don't have anybody to like guide me. Like nobody, none of my immediate family has ever gone to college, or well, my dad went to college, but I think he was like one class away from getting his AS, and teacher was bullshit. So he didn't finish. Oh, can I cuss? I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. I tell people, hey, come on the show, be you. Okay. It doesn't matter. You know what? We're all here to hear your story. You be you.
But yeah, so where was I going with that? Oh, school, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm going to school for studio arts, and yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. And how's that going? Is it does it help you that you already are an established artist?
I remember now.
Compared to like someone who's like, oh, I want to do art, and they jump into the art scene, art schooling. How has that helped you, and how does it?
Yeah, I always get A's.
A student over
I'm
here.
an A student when it comes to art and general is the reason. So the reason why I decided to go back to school to get my degree realistically is because not only one will I feel like it'll help me grow as an artist, but also because like I said, I don't have anybody to look up to, and I want to be that person for my son to look up to, if and when he decides to go to college.
Yeah.
I don't care. I really don't care like what route he goes as long as he's happy, one, and successful in his own. Not like, oh, you have to be rich to be successful. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's why I went back, was just to be able to challenge myself in that way, and be able to be an influence for him. But yeah, it's going good. I mean, I like the art classes that I take. All the teachers at Cabrillo are awesome. And yeah, it's going good. I don't know if I'm gonna go CSUMB after or UCSC. I heard UCSC is like kind of challenging to be able to like work and go to school. So I might end up doing CSUMB, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you got two great schools.
Yeah.
I think whichever one you do choose or pick, like it's going to be a good choice. I think there's each have their qualities and things, resources that you could benefit from. Because I hear great stories from both. So I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. So it's going good. It's just it gets to be a lot. Like I don't really have a lot of free time.
And so, growing up and doing the art thing, doing the graffiti thing, what was the, hey, I want to do this as a career, as I want to do this with my life?
It just happened, honestly. Like it wasn't like a decision that I made. It was just kind of something that like I fell into. Just from that one opportunity that I got, it just started like opening up doors for me. And then like that same person that I got the opportunity from for the bus, to paint the bus, was also the same person who got me in with Mariposa Arts. And so I just kind of went with it from there. It was something that like I never thought I was going to be a teaching artist. Like never even crossed my mind, but it just happened, and I'm super grateful. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it. I mean, like if I were to, I always say like, I always wish that I could just work on my art, but then that feels like I'm not giving back. And so I feel like, no matter what route I go, I'm going to have to do both. I'm going to have to balance both, because I feel like, art is my passion, but like helping to guide the next generation to be able to like use their creativity and their imagination and not let that, be washed out by society. It's like my purpose, so I have to balance the two.
And then talk about your time at Mariposa Arts. What was that time like?
Yeah, it's been great.
Are you currently?
I still teach.
Are.
I haven't wanted to let it go completely. It's like I have a soft spot, like I said, for it. Working with the little ones is it's different. They really like. Not that the older students don't appreciate art, like they do. I don't know. It's different. But so I still work with Mariposa Arts once a week on Tuesdays right now. I do the after school program, and it's been great. Like I see my students around town. They say, "Teacher," and then they get really excited to see me, and in class, they're always really excited to do the projects, and yeah, it's just I don't know. It's very fulfilling to see that spark.
And I know working with youngers and olders, right? I just think just in general, and whatever you do, they have a different reaction to things. Can you kind of touch on the difference between working with younger kids with art compared to older, and how are they similar?
I'll go with similar just because that's what came first. But like, um, mm, a lot of students can be a little hard on themselves, and not just students. Like, when it comes to art, we can be a little hard on ourselves. But yeah, that's something I see. Like sometimes students get a little hard on themselves when things aren't coming out like perfectly, especially when it comes to like fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
I feel like that really starts fifth grade, and then it's more in high school a little. It's a little more noticeable, but something I always say is like art doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it can be perfectly imperfect, but they're like, no, it has to be perfect.
I agree too. A couple like last year, I did a paint and sip with Karina North.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Frida
Mm-hmm.
paint. And for me, like I'm not an artist. I can't, stick figures is the best that I could do. And she was talking about shading and doing this and doing that. And I'm out there just kind of like, this is frustrating. I need to get it perfect. I ended up giving her like, her eyelashes were like going downwards and it was just all messed up. And I was just like, oh, so I understand fifth graders. Like I needed to be perfect.
Yeah. No, but that's the way your painting wanted to come out. You got to let it be what it wants to be.
I ended up giving it away. I forgot who I gave it. It's like, here, you just take it. It's just, stick figures is what I'm going to stick to.
Yeah. So that's a similarity. Difference, energy levels for sure. It's a lot more wild in the elementary schools, I guess you could say. But no, I have a pretty good structure, I think. I like my class to be a little structured. Like, give me attention for the first 5 minutes of class. Then after that, you can talk. And, as long as you're working on the project. Yeah, but those are probably some of the biggest differences in, like, and similarities. I can relate a lot more to the high school students, and like they like talking to me and opening up to me in a sense, and so I really enjoy that aspect of it as well. Yeah, it comes with its own challenges. Like I wish that I could like split myself into like multiple pieces in the classroom just to be able to give everybody like the attention that they need. Just because some assignments require a little bit more, or some projects require a little bit more support than others, and so that gets a little overwhelming at times when like there's multiple people who need help at the same time. But other than that, it's really, it's fulfilling.
Yeah. And how would you say you've grown as an artist teaching?
Because of the advice, I feel like the advice that I give to my students, I have to, when I'm creating, I have to remind myself, like, where you tell your students, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, yet here you are, like, stressing over it, you know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, you tell your students it's supposed to be fun.
And you're not, you're like, oh, it's not perfect.
And also just like with just like sketching, because sometimes I have to like sketch something. They're like, teacher, can you show me how to draw a Hello Kitty, for example? And so like I'll sketch it out for them real fast and they follow along. Okay, and then we have to move on. So sketching, I've gotten better at sketching. Just not being so like perfectionist with my art, and just having more fun with it. I feel like I've grown in that sense. Just about expressing your idea more than like the process more than the outcome, I guess.
You had a couple art pieces out here at the En Arte for the gallery. What was your first piece that you made that wasn't street art?
I don't know. I have no idea. That wasn't like graffiti style?
That wasn't graffiti style, or something that was on a canvas.
On a canvas? Yeah, it was the name of the person who I lost for the ofrenda. So yeah, I did their name on a canvas in like graffiti style lettering, and then just started doing more stuff on canvas from there. I still did graffiti a little bit after my son was born. Probably up until he was like 1. And then I just got more busy with, because I've been doing it since 2018. My son was born 2015, 2016. Yeah, 2017 I moved to Santa Cruz, and I just started having to pay my own rent and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so like just been more working and yeah, making stuff on canvas. um I really don't know what my first painting was that wasn't like graffiti style. I can't tell you. I've done a lot of stuff that like I've sold in markets. So I was doing more stuff like that, just like stuff that I could sell in markets.
What would be your favorite piece that you've created?
My favorite piece that I've created. They also hold a very special place in my heart. Like these paintings that are here, I don't want to let them go. But like I never used to put my art for sale until like there was one that I put at the Mi Casa es tu Casa event, and I put it not for sale, and it was like two calaveras, cheersing, and it said amor eterno, and then somebody reached out to me personally if I would be willing to let it go, and I was like, I'm gonna name a ridiculous price, that way they say no. And they said yeah, and I was like, oh shit. So I was like, all right, well, I'll start putting my art for sale, but just like kind of bump up the price just in case they do let it go. It's for a pretty penny for the most part. Here I did it a little bit less than I normally would, just because I want community.
Yeah.
It just depends, but
I do want to talk about one and
in particular.
In particular, it's the one where it's the box and it's got all the social media logos on it, and then the person's kind of tied with the chain.
Yeah,
right?
That one's Imagination Devastation. I did that one in a painting class. For a painting class, I had to like address an issue that I thought was important, and just something I've seen in the classrooms, especially, is that like kids have a hard time thinking for themselves, using their imagination. And I, even personally, me sometimes, like I notice even in my generation that like we're kind of addicted to these devices, you know what I mean? And I feel like the more that we are stuck on these devices and these applications, like the more that like our imagination gets strained out, because of the fact that like it's so much content like at the tip of your fingers, and you're constantly comparing yourself to like other people, and like how like, so no matter what you create is not going to be good enough, because there's always going to be somebody that's better than you, you know what I mean? So that kind of what that was speaking to is just like you're almost like shackled by this fear that is being like augmented through the applications and devices.
Yeah. And when I was looking at it, like when they were bringing it in, like that's the one that kind of stuck out to me, because same thing. Like I feel like we surround our lives with technology, right? We get addicted to it, we get chained up to it, and we can't be who we are. And I too, working with kids and working with younger generations, like I see that.
Oh yeah, you used to work at the youth center, huh?
I used to work at the youth center. Also used to work for PAL. So that's where I met you, actually. Yeah. And I see that I used to see that all the time, and even now I still work with kids, see it all the time. And how do you break the kids away from that when you're creating art?
A lot of times they ask me if they can use their computer for references, and sometimes they will. A lot of the times they will. But there's times where I'm just like, no, let's just try to use our imagination today. Let's just try to have fun with it. So sliding that in there gently, because I don't feel like I could just strip it away from them completely. You know what I mean? Because I do see there are benefits to technology. But I do see how it is also very harmful. I watched this movie last night called Electric State on Netflix. Y'all should check it out. It's good. It's kind of like that. I feel like that's the direction we're headed, where it's like we're going to be like so like engulfed in technology that like people don't really live in the real world in a sense anymore. So
Well, that's why they have the Oculuses, right? It's for video gaming. The headphones where you like your virtual reality, the
Yeah.
Meta, and all that. And I don't know. I just feel like they're leading us to that,
Mm-hmm.
right? With so much technology that's coming out, and it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to break away from that,
Yeah.
because we do things without even noticing that we're doing it. It's just become so conformed to like these
Being
phones,
programmed.
programmed to these phones. It's like we're like living in the Matrix.
Yeah, yeah. That's another thing I've been watching, like Breaking Free of the Matrix. It's just, yeah, like you said, you're not even aware that you're in it until you really, start to notice these little things. Like, oh, that's my programming. So like, I think biggest thing is like being conscious of the unconscious. This helps to break out of that. But I was gonna go somewhere with that. Yeah.
And with that, how has your art changed from what have been the benefits for you as an artist, not a teaching artist, but just a personal artist, from not having technology to now you have, right? You get some inspiration, but is there like a pro and con to you personally with technology?
Yeah. I think the pro is, being able to have like references. Yeah. Like sometimes it's hard to just like, I want to draw I don't know, a rose off the top of your head. Sometimes it's a little hard, for example. But yeah, just being able to have references is a pro. The con, I feel like, is like kind of like I get sometimes stuck on like I need to make this curve exactly like this curve on here, like that's on this reference, and like I have to remind myself like it doesn't have to be exactly like this. This is just for a reference. Also, like when it comes to doing murals and stuff, like having a projector is a really awesome tool than having a grid and do all that type of preparation. Yeah, probably those.
Speaking about murals, you have a few murals out there yourself.
I do, and I have a couple things coming up this summer. I feel like summer is always like kind of busy for me in that sense, which I'm really grateful for because I'm not working during the summer. So if I'm not working, I'm not getting paid for the most part. Working on getting salaried. Hopefully that happens within the next few months.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
if you guys watching this, get her on a salary.
Send that energy. No, it's in process right now. It's just hard to get the meetings with the people who need to get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so summer is always good for murals. Yeah, I have a few things out there. I'm hoping to get more.
What do you have out there? I know you mentioned you have a utility box.
There's 3 utility boxes. There's one down the street on Airport. One by the Starbucks on Main Street, like across from Grocery Outlet. And then one a little bit further down the way, like as you're coming off of Rodriguez, but before you hit like St. Patrick's. Yeah. So those are my 3 utility boxes. I have a few things at different schools. I have one at WCSA's. I have another one at Calabasas, at Escuela Quetzal, just like stuff that I've done with students. I have a couple things at Loaves and Fishes. I feel like I have more, but I'm blanking right now.
And you had mentioned that when it came to like street art, you felt free, right? You felt free to express yourself. Is it that same feeling with these murals? Because you kind of have to submit something, right? And if it gets approved, it gets approved. Does that hinder the feeling of freedom to like, paint or
Yeah, it does. But at the same time, I feel like it also challenges me to kind of grow in a sense. You know what I mean? I've gotten to a point where I don't really even like submitting stuff anymore. Like I get opportunities. Oh, I have Penn Lake too. I just remember that one. Penn Lake, and then Callahan was a fun one. Anyway, sorry. Opportunities come to me whether I submit stuff or not, and so I've just gotten to a point where like I don't really try to stress about the ones that like I need to submit stuff for, or submit for. I just mostly do the ones like that opportunities come to me, or like if I know for sure, like, or like if it's not too, if they're not asking for too much, like, oh, submit a sketch of your design. If they just want like references of like stuff that you've done, then I'll submit. But yeah, there's like hoops you have to jump through in order to be able to create art in the community sometimes.
And what are your thoughts on that? I know different people have different thoughts on, there's a process, go through the process, but other people are just like, no, it's like, it's prohibiting us from expressing ourselves.
It's very gatekeepy. Yeah, it's very gatekeepy because I feel like most of the people who get the opportunities are people who, it's kind of like the same type, it's the same people a lot of the times, like, because they are so good because they've been doing it for so long, so they have so much, experience under their belt. So, and, no shade to them, no hate to them, it's all love. There's enough opportunities for everyone, I feel. But when it comes to like submitting stuff for the city, sometimes it can be a little gatekeepy, and I feel like sometimes it doesn't give like up and coming artists the opportunities. Like what if there's someone who's coming out of high school? But I have to say, the city is moving in the right direction. Like I was part of this panel, I forgot what it was called. Not a panel, but like meeting where they were getting different like artist feedback, and I feel like the direction it's going is going to be good. Like for example, they will like say they're going to have like different tiers for different opportunities, and only like say I've gotten an opportunity this year, I can't get another opportunity this year. It has to go to somebody else, for example. Or like say I'm an up and coming artist, then they'll pair me with someone who is like a higher tier, and then we'll work together, which I think is great because then you get to learn from each other. So it's moving in a good direction.
And prior to that, do you think there was a lot of, I guess, politics in the art world? Because
I just think Watson was very conservative. Like,
really?
Unfortunately, historically, let's not claim that anymore. We're expanding, but historically, Watsonville is very conservative. I feel like the fact that you can't. I'm gonna get political right now, but the fact that you can't have like a cannabis dispensary like in the city limits, but yet you can have like a farm next to a school that sprays pesticides, like it's conservative and it's like very like political, like, so it sucks that you have to like, it has to go through like a panel and like you have to approve your design, or like you're being told like what they want to see. Like I feel like there should be more opportunities where you're given creative freedom. Like the two of the electrical boxes I did, I almost wasn't able to do the design that I had submitted because they had peace signs and they compared it to a swastika, like a symbol. Like, oh, no symbols because then, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's kind of funny that you said that. They can't tell the difference between a peace sign and a swastika. I think that's so you think that the arts in town is kind of heading in a better direction?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I've seen a lot of growth. Like the first meeting I ever went to back in 2018 was just like, what would we like to see for the arts in Watsonville, and
was it the media in Nobile?
No.
Oh, okay, because someone had mentioned that.
It was like media. I was facilitating it. I don't even remember where it was at. But yeah, and then like since then, we've gotten the WCSA building, and that was like something that was discussed in that meeting in 2018. So the Watsonville Center for the Arts is now a thing from 2018 to, I don't know, we got it back maybe like 2 years ago. So took about 5 years, you know, but like slowly making the progress. You know, we'll see where we're at 5 years from now. Hopefully that plan is in place and there's a lot more opportunities. I would love to see manifesting under all the bridges. Like, you know how there's lots of trails in Watsonville?
Yeah.
And there's lots of bridges, like under all the bridges to like have murals there, you know?
Oh, that would be cool.
Kind of like Chicona Park. I feel like that would be a dope tourist attraction. You know, you just walk all the different trails and check out all the murals under the bridges. I just feel like under bridges, like, who cares? Let artists have that space. Like, why you got to dictate what goes under bridges? You know,
there's this cool alleyway on Main Street. It's in between Forever Fly, that little alleyway. Oh my gosh, like that would be a great space for like a mural.
Yeah.
On both sides. I mean, there's like a few right there, but those walls are just like itching to get a paint job.
And it just brightens up the neighborhood, like areas that are like, you know, hood or like ghetto or whatever. Like if you add some color to it, it just brings life and it brings inspiration. And you know, so like, what are the people who are in charge of the districts? Do you know? I'm not.
The school board, the district, the administrators, principals.
No, just like city council, and they're in charge of a different district.
Oh, council members, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So council members, you know, like let's get some more art in these alleyways. You know, uplift the community, uplift these neighborhoods that are just kind of run down. You know, there's lots of artists who would be willing to do it if there's not funding for it. There's grants, you know, and I don't want to say artists will be willing to donate their time, but you know, we can work a little something out. Yeah.
If you could put a mural anywhere,
where would it be?
Where would you put it at? And what do you think you would put there?
Here in Watsonville?
Or anywhere. It could be Watsonville.
There's this one wall that I've been eyeballing for quite some time. It's over by the boardwalk, though. Like, you can see it. So, like, if you're driving towards Seabright, there's this wall on the left side right there. And I put, like, welcome to Santa Cruz.
Okay.
That's just, like, a really nice wall. I really like big walls. Other than that, like, here locally, I haven't spotted. There's, I've done some work for, You Save Liquors. And there's this little wall next to their shop that keeps getting hit up and keeps getting, like, you know, tagged. And he told me, like, oh, if you want to do something there, just bring me a design. But I haven't been able to think of something yet. I'm thinking something like neon sign vibes. So it's something I might address over the summer. I just haven't had the time to work on something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I would love to see more murals in town. Aside from that alleyway, there's another space that I think.
All of Walker
Street, yeah. Yeah, there used to be.
Oh, I know. Sorry.
No, where?
Okay. Behind the handball courts, behind the gallery.
Oh, that's right.
I could see like some dope like graffiti style pieces, like with like inspirational words like peace, hope, you know, I don't know, whatever other inspirational words, like, and have it be like a collaboration between artists. I am working on a show off the streets, coming up this summer. So I'm hoping that brings some like positive light to that style, and then maybe I can present it to the city.
Yeah. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Have you collabed with other artists? You collab with them frequently?
Not as frequently as I wish I could, but I'm planning on collaborating with a couple of my favorite artists this summer, which is really exciting because like I don't feel like I'm anywhere up to their level, but the fact that the universe is providing me with these opportunities, it's like, okay, well, I guess you think I'm ready, so I'm ready.
Yeah. And if you could collaborate with an artist in history, who would it be?
Oh, in history, Frida Kahlo.
Frida Kahlo. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Chingona. Chingona. Like, I don't know. I went to her house over winter break. I spent like a month in Mexico. So I spent like a week and a half or 2 weeks in Mexico City, and then 2 weeks in Cabo because my mom lives out there.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the crossover between our story, like we have a lot of things in common. The fact that she performed like alchemy through her arts in a sense where like she took like pain and turned it into something beautiful, and I feel like I tend to do that a lot of the times. Like when I create, I create more when I'm going through shit.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I've gone through shit. Like I still create when when things are good, but it's just like it's like more spotty, and like when I'm going through stuff, like I really dive into it. Yeah, just the way she is a woman who like represents the Mexican community, even in or the Mexican culture, like even back then, like in the 1920s, when like women didn't have as many rights, you know, and they were still very dependent on a man. Like she, kind of broke that mold. Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, when you're not creating, right? And how does Nessa unwind? Because I mean, you could use art. You do art.
Yeah, but
But
it feels like work sometimes.
yeah. So how do you like kind of just come to a baseline to where like you
Nature.
de-stress? Yeah.
Nature.
Nature.
Yeah, nature is like my time off. Like I've got wanderlust. Like I like love adventuring, like exploring. Spend time at the beach and in the forest. Yeah.
And through that relaxation, you also find your inspiration.
A lot of the times, yeah. I mean, God's creation, he's like the ultimate artist in my eyes. So yeah, like sometimes I just look at a flower like, damn, like how did you even think to do that? And then like I think like, wow, I'm gonna try to paint this flower. So yeah, like yeah, I do get inspired by nature a lot.
Where do you say you go to the forest? Where around here do you usually go?
My favorite spot is Land of Medicine Buddha up in
Ooh.
SoCal. SoCal, it's like off of SoCal, so it's
Uh-huh.
not very far from my house. I live in Capitola right now, so I go there, or I go down to the village. It's like a 10-minute walk from my house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's the best part about being in this area. Just like 10 minutes, you're at the beach. 15, 20 minutes, you're in the forest.
Yeah.
It's just the best of everything out here. So, uh, yeah. No, that's great. And where do you see yourself being in the future, in the near future?
Like how many years out are we talking?
Let's say, you know what? Let's say 5 years.
Okay, 5 years out. Okay, let me think. Where was I 5 years ago?
Because from what you've been talking about 5 years ago and then now, you've done a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in another 5 years.
I have to remind myself to be proud of my progress because, yeah, I've from where I was 5 years ago to where I am now. Yeah, I'm very proud of myself.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, good job. In 5 years, how old will my son be? He'll be 14, 15. Oh my God. I see myself. I want to have my own art studio, and so goals would be to like have my own art studio and have like classes out of the art studio. As My goal for art studio is to be able to paint big, because like I said, there's not very many spaces to like practice. Like I want to get really good at painting with aerosol, especially like right now I'm working on a little mural in my dad's backyard. Yeah, and like yeah, I realized like man, I haven't just had the opportunity to just like experiment with like what the different tips do and stuff like that. And like I teach, like I've taught like how to do murals using these materials, but I feel like there's just so much more that you can do. Like some of the people that I look up to is like mind blowing. So yeah, have some type of like a studio space or like a backyard, like yeah. I want to have a house as well with a yard, and where I can just like paint bigger, and be able to use like spray paint.
And one of the questions, and I think we kind of touched a little bit, kind of around it, but as far as spaces in town, because you said you want a space, a location, are those spaces? Is it reachable here? You think it's possible here in an area like Watsonville, even though the arts is growing, for an artist to have their own studio?
As it is now, it's not as accessible unless you have like your studio space in your house. I know that Pajaro Valley Arts, especially with their Porter building, it's like in the works to be able to have some studio spaces there. So hopefully 5 years out, maybe there'll be something. There's a lot of really cool like warehouses like off of Walker too, like that could make some pretty amazing studio spaces. But yeah, as of right now, I don't think it's very accessible in the community here.
And what do you think it's gonna take to get those spaces?
Funding. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I feel. Yeah, and even if it's not, I mean, it's hard because there's so much like bureaucracy, like permitting requirements, and just the city makes you jump through so many hoops just to be able to do anything a lot of the times. And so those are the biggest challenges. But yeah, funding and unity, people coming together to work on things to make shit happen. Yeah, I feel like that's what it's gonna take. Yeah.
You had mentioned your son. You have a son. Is he turning into a little artist himself?
Yes and no. He's very much a gamer right now, unfortunately. Both his dad and I are artists, so I feel like it's in him. And he really likes like drawing characters. Like if he's given the opportunity, he can really get down. But for him to just be like, oh, I'm gonna just like sit and draw, it's not as often as I would like it to be.
So get up and draw, man. Get off the video games.
Yeah, no, yeah. I tell him like, no more video games. You can draw, you can read, you can do something else, but stop. And then he's just like, bored. Yeah, so not quite yet. He's 9. Maybe in his teen years, I feel like it'll grow a little more. That's when it grew for me.
Yeah. What as an artist, we talked about like the struggles of like spaces and kind of the hoops. Has there ever been a time where you're just like, I'm done with art? Because I know sometimes there's obstacles and there's moments where it's just like it doesn't seem like it's worth it, I guess, because we all have those moments, right? Has there ever been a time where you're just like, or you took a long period of break from art?
There's been times where I'm like, I'm never doing a mural again. Just 'cause they are very physically demanding. When you're like having to squat down and be like up and down, be in the elements, like battling the weather. Yeah. So, like, if anything, like sometimes I say that about murals, just because it is a lot of work. But I know that it's also very fulfilling. So I mean, I feel like that's how it is with any career. Like you're always gonna have like the sparkles and the thorns, I guess you could say, and it's like finding that middle ground where like the thorns don't outweigh the sparkles. Yeah. Yeah, probably just murals. But other than that, no, I feel like I'll always create in one way or another. It's just in
like
me.
When you're not creating, you're still creating somehow, some way.
In my brain, I like that's the one thing. Technology, I wish that there was. I think there could be cons to that too. But like, I wish I could just like take a picture, like click on my glasses, and take a picture of what I'm seeing in my brain. Because like I get. I be creating in my brain like too.
Well, they do have those glasses where you can take a picture of what you're looking at, so that maybe nature. Look at take a picture of that.
Yeah.
Right there, so.
Yeah, keep getting little ideas of things I want to say, and they keep flying away.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you had mentioned a little bit earlier about the Brown Berets
Uh-huh.
and that you were a part of that.
Yeah. So I think like right when I got out of high school, yeah, probably like 2009, I joined the Brown Berets. I started just going to the meetings. I liked what they were about, especially las peñas, the peñas. So peñas were like, kind of, yeah, that's what really brought me in, because they would provide a space for youth to be able to paint with spray paint. They would put up these boards,
Mm-hmm.
like walls areas, and they would like let you rent these cans,
Yeah.
so to speak, I guess you could say, and like, and then you could just paint whatever you wanted on these boards. And they had like local rappers come through, live music, like dance battles and stuff like that. So that was what really drew me in. I was like, whoa, this is dope that they're doing this in the community. Like, I want to be a part of it. And yeah, I started participating more. I threw my own peña a couple of times, and well, not my own, but like I designed the flyer and stuff like that. And yeah, we all worked together as a group to make it happen. And other than that, it was very much about like, just being there for the community, like, and whatever they needed, like for peace and unity marches. We kind of helped, facilitate in the sense that like making sure everybody was like not walking in the street, kind of like security, kind of like crowd control in a sense. I did like the Day of the Elder security up in, it was like a powwow up in Mount Madonna. Yeah, some stuff in the Bay. And I feel like it just really gave me personally, like I mentioned in the interviews when we had the art show, like I personally didn't have much like connection to my roots, in my upbringing. Like, my parents like always spoke English, it was very like acclimate. And so I feel like that environment, really kind of just was like the introduction to me to like what it is to be Chicano and what it is to be, honor like these traditions. And yeah.
And what does it mean to you?
For me personally, like I always say like a tree cannot bear fruit. One time I said this and like I got really emotional. I sometimes get emotional when I'm passionate about what I'm talking about. But a tree cannot bear fruits if disconnected to its roots, right? So for me, it's like that's what it represents, is being connected to your roots, and being able to honor that, because yeah, a lot of times we're just kind of fed this information, but it's not who we are. So just being really grounded in who you are and where you come from really feel like helps to provide a stable foundation to grow from.
That's I agree with that. I do think that we need to stick to who we are, our roots, where we come from, right? And Watsonville is just a very rich in that, right? Culture, community. You see it in the street. You see it in the people as they're asking questions and they're growing, and it's becoming a thing, So how do you see the community here in Watsonville growing with art and culture and like I said, like that root buried, what I'm trying to say is, how does the art and community and being a part of something help grow the art scene, and how did it help you, and how is it helping the community in general?
Well, I think it goes back to unity, like having that sense of unity in the community, and feeling safe, having these safe spaces to create, with with people of your community, cross culturally too. It doesn't just have to be raza, We're all allies at the end of the day. Um, so yeah, I just feel like for me, it helped to see as a young person to see other people like older than me, my elders, doing these things like creating, being
Yeah.
creative and speaking with confidence and carrying themselves in a way that is giving and generous, and so just having positive role models, I feel like it just helps one to be able to believe in themselves and believe in becoming the best version of themselves, I guess. Yeah.
And for those, what do you tell those? Um, what advice do you have for those people that are trying to, I guess, find themselves as an artist and trying to come up as an artist?
um I have to say, just keep going, keep doing it, like, and do what brings you joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't do things to get like approval from anyone else. Like, just do what brings you joy. I feel like that has been something that's kept me going. Is like, what do I feel like doing? Like for me personally, like what brings me joy is just messing with color, like
Mm-hmm.
experimenting with color, splattering color around. That brings me joy. Um, there are times where like I do work on a painting in efforts to like grow. Like, okay, I'm gonna challenge myself. I'm getting myself out of my box, out of my comfort zone. So a little bit of the two. You wanna do what brings you joy. You want to challenge yourself to grow, get out of your comfort zone, and like try not to have like an expectation. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like don't compare yourself. Like, this has to look like as good as this person's art, or it has to look exactly like my reference picture. Just let it be funky if it
Mm-hmm.
wants to be funky. Sometimes your art wants to do things that you didn't want it to do, but that's what it wanted to do, and
Yeah.
that's what it is, and we just have to accept it
Yeah.
and honor it.
Honor it.
Yeah,
Nice.
honor the process more than the outcome.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, because it's not about the finish line, right? It's
No.
about the journey.
Yeah, and like the more you, like I always say, the more you practice, the better you get. Something that I like, one of my affirmations is like, I am exactly where I need to be at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I was supposed to be as good as this artist, I would be as good as that artist. But I'm where I need to be now. I'm not in a hurry, in my 40s. Then maybe I'll be as good as that artist. But this is where I'm at now.
Live in the moment, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Live at the moment. No, that's great. And kind of, as I tell people right when they come on, you gave the advice for an artist, right? But if you had one thing to say, not art related, not just the last words of wisdom that Nessa would give out, what would it be?
Last words of wisdom. Ooh.
If you could go back to 18-year-old, 20-year-old you, what would you say?
Give me a moment, because that's deep. I don't want it to be surface level either. Ain't nobody gonna have you like you got you, So you water you, pour into you, and just do what brings you joy. I honestly feel like that. Like, that's the key to life.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, is like, do what brings you joy, and even if something doesn't bring you joy, find a way to bring joy into it.
That right there is deep right there.
Yeah.
That right there. Find a way to bring joy to whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
That's got me thinking right there too. You gotta put that on a shirt.
I know.
Oh, right there. It's like a sticker, a shirt, a new,
Yeah.
paint.
Like one of the things I hate doing, I hate washing dishes. Like it's a
Mhm.
never ending story. It's like I just wash these dishes and it's full again. So I bring joy into washing dishes by playing my music and dancing and singing along.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Nessa, I really appreciate you coming on.
Mhm.
You know, I know it took a lot of courage. You know, you were nervous at first. But first podcast.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I hope you do more. People ask you to go on their podcast. I hope you do more.
Yeah, I feel like there's more that I could touch on, but yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you again. Check out Nessa and her art. What's your Instagram handle? So
It's
people,
Art by Creativeness.
Art by Creative Nessa. All right, go check that out. And looking forward to what you got coming during the summer.
Yeah, summer 2025 is blessings on blessings, abundance for me, for you, for all of us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, guys, make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. Nessa, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And maybe in the future, we'll see what you've done, what you've accomplished,
Yeah,
and we report back to the people, see what you've done.
sounds good.
Yeah, awesome. Guys, check me out on the next episode. Stay tuned. Thank you very much. God bless. See you guys later.
Peace.